Well, this past Thursday was the deadline for the NFL teams to place their tags on their franchise players on any of the restricted free agents. There were some surprises and some moves that were expected. The Panthers decided to let go Julius Peppers, who has been their all-star defensive end. He was going to approximately make $20 million next year if he was franchise tagged, so he's going to be one hot commodity this offseason. The Steelers were able to sign defensive tackle and former Longhorn Casey Hampton to a 3-year, $21 million contract, which enabled them to eventually franchise tag kicker Jeff Reed. The Raiders, shout out to Chris Berman, tagged defensive end Richard Seymour, guaranteeing him just over $12 million. The problems that most of these players have with these franchise tags is the lack of security. If they get hurt during their tag season, the team has absolutely no obligation when it comes to rehabbing them or paying for their insurance or money owed to them. But some teams, instead of tagging their players, choose to cut them. For instance, this past week, 2 franchise running backs were cut by their teams. LaDainian Tomlinson was cut by the Chargers, and Brian Westbrook was cut by the Eagles. This means no more LT in the powder blue. No longer will we see Westbrook and McNabb on the same sidelines. Many people thought both backs would retire, but both have come out and confirmed that they plan on playing next year. Now, I don't know if they can be 20 to 25 touch backs a game anymore, but 2 teams are for sure going to get great playmakers when it comes to free agency. Well, another way to add great players to your team besides free agency is the NFL Draft, which comes our way April 22nd. Each year, most of the players eligible for the draft attend the NFL Scouting Combine in order to show off their skills and try to improve their draft stock. This year, the Combine is being held from February 24th to April 2nd, so we're already underway. And among those athletes that will be there but aren't participating are all-star quarterbacks Sam Bradford and Jimmy Clausen. Both quarterbacks coming off an injury, but Bradford, who is the consensus #1 quarterback in the draft, is coming off of shoulder surgery, so he won't be able to throw. But the word is that he'll be back and ready to throw for his pro day later in the month. The big thing that scouts seem to care about, though, is the 40-yard dash. It seems that every scout drools over this workout, but I honestly don't know why. Don't get me wrong, having speed is important, but not necessarily important enough to drop someone 15 to 20 spots in the draft because of a bad time. Both Jerry Rice and Emmitt Smith ran a 4.6 in their Combine 40, and they're arguably the best players at their respective positions. Now, of course, it's great to have a guy like Chris Johnson on your team who ran a 4.2 40 at his Combine 2 years ago. Well, we all saw what a guy like him can do. But come on, guys. The 40 is without question the most overrated test at the Combine. This past week, we saw the first swing of college baseball season come around when the preseason #1 Longhorns took on the New Mexico Lobos in a 3-game series. Texas took the first game easily, winning 6-2, as sophomore stud Taylor Youngman picked up pitching right where he left off last year. But the Lobos then battled back to win the last 2 games, and they took the series. The Longhorns saw their ranking slip to #6 this week. The Horns and the Rice Owls are the only 2 Texas schools located in the top 10, as Rice is ranked #10, and TCU is the only other Texas school in the top 25, coming in at #19. And just before we go, I want to touch real quickly on the McGuire family. I can tell you that this would certainly be a fun day to be a fly on the wall listening to their dinner conversations. I would love to hear what Mark thinks about his brother and what he has said. His brother Jay has pretty much thrown Mark under the bus. Not only the bus, I'd say the subway, the bullet train, pretty much any fast-moving transportation system. His brother Jay wrote a book about his basically steroid uses, saying that he sold him steroids, he told him about which steroids to take to get stronger, to hit better, and all this and that, and that's pretty much a ridiculous thing to do. Talk about a blow beneath the belt. Just as I think as America is about to slowly forgive Mark McGuire, his brother pulls this shenanigan. Well, folks, that's all the time we have for this week. For Nathan Castro, Aaron Wolf, I'm Grant Levinson. We'll see you next time on Texas Nation.